Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again at your program, CAF Inform. We have great information for everyone that's joining us. Please take a second and share because we will be sharing very, very important information today. If you're thinking about building your own business, we have important information that will give you the step and the guidance as to how and the steps to follow to start your own business. So we will have that information with you guys. So please share if you know of someone that's thinking about having or building their own business. We have great information that's going to help each one of you about the process and the steps that we need or you will need to take in order to get your license. But today, as you guys all know, CAF Center of Assistance to Family, we're here every Thursday sharing information that we think will be of great benefit to our community. As you guys might know, we have our credit rebuilding program. We also have foreclosure prevention, and also we have counseling for first-time home buyer. So if you're thinking about buying a home and you need the steps to follow, we have our home buyer class every Friday and Saturday, actually the last Friday and Saturday of each month. We have a class scheduled for the 24th and the 25th of this month. So if you're interested in buying a home and you need the class or you need the steps and the information as to how to be mortgage ready, please give us a call at 978-332-7108 or 301-328-3292. You can also visit our website at www.mycaf.org, www.mycaf.org, and you can learn and see everything that we're doing in our community. All right, so we do have Celi Argueta, as I mentioned. If you're thinking about starting your own business, she's gonna share some great information with us regarding the process, the licensing, and all the steps you need in order to start your own business. So Celi Argueta, thank you for joining us. She's representing BNG Consultant, and she will be sharing great information with us today. Thank you, Celi.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, I thank God for allowing me to be with you all today. It's a blessing to be able to bring information to our community, especially in these difficult times. Thank you, CAF, for the opportunity to continue to educate our community, empower especially our minority communities. Today's presentation will be brief, and I will go over how to obtain your general contractor and home improvement license. Particularly around this time, there are many of you who may already be in business but need additional guidance and support in bringing your business compliant or current with certain licenses. Today we're going to be talking about in the construction field. And there may be those of you who, as a result of COVID and especially in these economic times, you realize, you know what, maybe this is the time for me to start a business. I always think that God's time is always perfect. So there are definitely wonderful resources available. If you're considering opening a business, this is the time. This is time for you to really connect with organizations such as CAF, such as hopefully myself, so that we can really begin to make some really incredible impact in our community. Who am I? I am Celi Argueta. I am a business consultant, over 15 years of experience with government project management, and have been working as a bilingual business advisor for the last 5 years. Today I am coming to you with different hats. I am also privileged to be part of the newly formed Baltimore Metropolitan Women's Business Center. So for all those wonderful women entrepreneurs, this is the time. This is the time to really connect with our center and with other resources for you to really think about starting your business. And obviously construction is ready to receive us. We are strong, and we can, I think, definitely grow our businesses, our communities, and think about the construction field and how big it is, and what a great impact we can have as women. Um, what's our mission? BNG Consulting is, our mission is to educate, empower, and connect our minority entrepreneur community with opportunities both at the local, state government, and private sector through capacity building, teaching, and economic development opportunities. So having an opportunity to work with CAF is amazing, because I think we're all in the same, share the same vision. Today, I'm going to talk quickly about the different types of licenses, particularly obviously to the construction, but I do want to say that if you're considering starting a business, the first thing you need to do is to sit down with someone, a business advisor. There are plenty of free resources, starting with the small business development centers. Like I mentioned before, the Baltimore Metropolitan Women's Business Center is an amazing resource that is just now was fully formed with sponsorship through the SBA, and we are there's a number of advisors on board that can help you from just exploring the business concept. If you have an idea that you want to explore, whether it's viable, what type of structure you need to really consider for your business, what type of financing you're going to need, and what resources are available for you to be able to take on that, what type of licenses. So today's workshop is focusing on one piece of the puzzle, licensing and requirements for you to be really in accordance with the law. Having said that, let's talk about the two most popular types of construction licenses. So we have home remodeling or home improvement licenses, and we have general contractor licenses. Maryland, DC, and Virginia all have different processes for obtaining home improvement license. One of the biggest differences is exams. Maryland requires an exam, which is both available in English and Spanish. DC requires no exam, and Virginia requires exams. However, they're only available in English. For general contractor licenses, there's no particular license or general contractor license in Maryland. However, if you are considering doing local work at the county level, you have to check with your client or your general contractor and find out whether you are required to obtain a license at the county level. If you are in DC and considering doing work in DC, whether you're a business in DC or outside of DC, you have to register your business in DC to conduct, to be a general contractor license. And there's different types of classes in DC, class A, B, C, D, E, and they're all different, mean different things, which we'll explore in a few minutes. In Virginia, obviously, they do have a general contractor license, and there's 3 types of classes. In terms of the requirements, just overall, the requirements for each license, they're almost the same, but I wanted to make sure that we all understand the process. For home improvement licensing, the application is going to be based on your experience, the fact that you have a legitimate registered business in the home state, you have the proper insurance, that you're able to show financial capacity of the owner or the business. In some cases, some will require a criminal background check, for example, in DC, if you're going to be doing home improvement. And in some cases, you may need a surety bond if you're not able to meet the financial capability. In DC, they will pull someone's credit. In Maryland, you will need to provide a credit report. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get approved because you may not have excellent credit. It's just part of the process. Like I said before, in Maryland and Virginia, you are expected to take an exam that really validates your understanding of the laws and the requirements of you running a business. For general contractors, the majority of the requirements are around the experience of the owner, a legitimate registered business, the proper insurance, and financial capability. And in particular in Virginia, the exam preparation for Virginia and general contractor is definitely more extensive. So let's talk about really what is really home improvement. So I wanted to make sure that we pull up the code of business regulation in Maryland. And what it really means that home improvement is defined as the additional alteration, conversion, improvement, modernization, remodeling, repair, replacement of a building or part of a building that, and this is key, to be used as a resident or dwelling place or a structure adjacent to that building. So that's very important to understand what residential means. For example, if you're doing a basement, if you're adding an addition, you really need to understand what constitutes residential versus commercial. For example, there are some exceptions. So work performed in an apartment building that has 4 or more residential units is not considered residential. It's more on the commercial side. Therefore, that's why you see contractors able to do work for apartment buildings and don't require a home improvement. There are areas, the common areas in a condominium, that will be considered non-residential. Why is that important to be licensed? Simply the fact that it is the law. We have to be compliant. And this is overall, the first offense, you could be, if they find you to be working without a license, you could be sentenced up to 30 days in jail, fine up to $1,000. Second offense will be up to 2 years in jail and fine of $5,000. And this is real. I have a client that unfortunately, he came to me after the fact and I helped him get his license. But he did spend 6 months in jail, and now he goes around teaching people and educating individuals how important it is to have your paperwork in place. What type of jobs are covered in home improvement? We're not going to go extensively through the list, but this website, if you look at Maryland, if you look up DC and Virginia, will provide you with a very extensive list of everything that involves, whether it's interior or exterior remodeling, and it really breaks it down for you. So if you have a question, you can go online and really say, is the type of work that I do within the requirement of a home improvement license? The process in Maryland is pretty much, one is you need to qualify. You need to qualify based on your experience, minimum 2 years of experience. In the construction or remodeling industry. You have to take a test and you have to fulfill all the required documentation and apply and pay the required fees. The most important thing to know here is that in order for you to have your license, it really forces your business, especially if you're just starting out or if you're already in business, to really organize your business. So making sure that you're properly registered, that you have the proper insurance, that you have your finances in order. So that it helps you also become more organized in your business. And we can see from the list that the list is not, it's really doable. And people should not be afraid to really try to obtain the proper license. As you're thinking about opening up a business, you really have to think about the business structure and all the documentation that you have to have in order, because as your business grows, you're going to need all the documentation, the proper documentation, to be able to also meet the requirements of the license that you're going to be seeking. We can see from here that, you know, there's costs associated with taking the exam, and there's costs associated obviously with filing for your Maryland improvement license. But I think that if you're considering going into business, you need to be able to also identify all the costs associated from a business registration to your licensing. So that's part of business planning, and in part of your business plan, it'd be able to really document and to really understand what are all the associated costs that I need to take into consideration as I embark in owning my own business. The license is good for 2 years, and it's a very simple renewal process. And so if in the event that you decide, well, I'm not really doing that much work, you could put in a request to have your license put on hold. Don't let it expire, because otherwise you'll be forced to go through the entire process again. So it's important to make sure that you keep it active. And if you don't need to have it active, you can put it inactive and pay a very small fee to the commission. Let's quickly talk about contractor licenses in DC. The process there is fairly more simple, I would say, because there's no exam required. You do have to submit, obviously, documentation similar to other states from showing that you are a legitimate business registered in DC. If you are, however, for example, a business located in Maryland or DC, what you do is you would have to register your business as a foreign entity and file all the proper documentation and show obviously that you have the proper insurance, copy of your clean hands certificate, or in some states it's called a good standing certificate. So it's a different documentation that is necessary to prove that you are a legitimate business and that you meet the requirements, but there is no exam. So that's a good part. I think that's a good news for a lot of small businesses that may not be in a position to take the exam or meet certain more rigorous requirements. So DC does have an opportunity. So that's part of something that I sit down with my clients and say, well, where is the business located, and where do you want it to be, and where are the clients, and where are you getting most of your work? And so just really trying to understand and guide them is what license should come first. Where are you working? Where is it that you have the most potential and to maximize your ability to identify clients? DC in general has various types of classes of licenses, and that really depends on the amount of the project that you want to do, and obviously, and your insurance limits. So that's something that also we sit down with each client and say, well, if you're just starting out, maybe your insurance is going to be just basic minimal. So you may be looking at a Class C, or if you really are a large contractor, you're able to meet higher demands on your insurance, you might be dealing with a Class A license, which has no limits on the amount of projects and size of the project. For DC, you do have an option to apply for your DC home improvement license. If you're strictly just a home improvement contractor in DC, you are able just to file for that separately. There are some general contractors that do both. You can do both a general contractor license with the ability to be to have a home improvement salesperson license, so that it would allow you to do both commercial and residential. But that's, again, one thing that we will sit down with you and determine which license is best for you. Do you do more residential, or do you do more commercial, or you do a combination of both? So with home improvement in DC, it's documentation. One of the differences is that the home improvement salesperson does have to undergo a criminal background check and provide a notarized affidavit of where they have worked and they have lived. In this case, if you're in DC, your background check is performed in DC. If you're outside of DC, it's where you are locally residing. For Virginia contractors, really quick, the process is a little bit different. There's two types of licenses, the general contractor license and home improvement license in Virginia. Virginia has three types of license, classes of license, A, B, and C. Class A and B require a lot more documentation. They require an 8-hour pre-license course and a 3-part exam. I don't know if you can see this book, but basically you have to study this book. It's more of the administrative portion of the test. If you're applying for a Class A and Class B, you do need to take that class. Once you've passed that exam, you will need to submit your application for consideration with DPOR, which is the certifying agency. And the board will determine in that application whether you have the sufficient experience to be able to apply for your specialty test, because it depends on your specialty. So in this case, if you want to be a home improvement contractor in Virginia, you have to show experience and you need to qualify to take the specialty test for home improvement. If you are applying for a general contractor, let's say a commercial building, you need to file for that particular application and that test. You have to be approved for that test. So it's very specialized. For someone that's just starting out in Virginia, Class C, general contractor Class C or home improvement Class C, will allow you to do work For smaller projects, you still have to take the 8-hour pre-licensing course. However, you do not have to take the administrative test. This test is not required. You do have to submit the proper application and documentation of your experience. However, you do need to take the specialty test of home improvement, general contractor. There's some clients that just only do painting. There's a specific classification or specialty for painting or drywall, so very specific. And you can see from this screen right here, all the various different trades and specializations. So that's a very specialized test. And again, you will need to sit down with someone that can go over and explain what the various different choices are for you. So just to quickly highlight the difference between Class A, B, and C in Virginia is that the Class A has no limits. You can do any type of size project. However, Class B will only allow you to do up to $120,000 of a project in terms of value, up to 750,000 sales a year. And for Class C, it's anywhere less than $10,000 per project, up to $150,000 per year. So for someone just starting out, Class C might be the more appropriate class for you to consider. And for Virginia, aside from obviously the experience, you have to show financial stability, and you do that through a financial declaration for Class A and B. If it's Class A, 45,000 for the business, 15,000 for the business. There's no financial requirement for Class C, so that's something to consider. In Virginia, you have to have a qualified person. That means that could be the owner of the business or an officer of the business, to be able to sign for the application. And you have to have a designated person or employee that could very well take the administrative exam. However, the qualified individual has to be the person that has the technical expertise and the technical experience to be able to meet the requirements in the application. So it is a much more, I think, extensive process, but it's well worth it if you really are wanting to do business in Virginia. So the approval process is the same. You have to take, go through the exam, submit the proper documentation, and wait for you to be approved in terms of your business licenses. So I wanted to just, I know we went through it pretty quickly, but I wanted to, again, emphasize through the Baltimore Metropolitan Women Business Center, if you're a new entrepreneur, if you're an existing entrepreneur who needs additional assistance, I am here to help. We are covering Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Hartford County, Frederick County. So I look really forward to hearing, hopefully some of you that are out there and hear this presentation know that there's resources for women entrepreneurs and also male. We don't just service women, but we help anyone that needs our help. I am also part of the advisory group through different chambers of commerce, one being the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They have a wonderful program where if you are a business in DC or a aspiring entrepreneur in DC and you need that guidance, you need that the additional assistance to explore your business idea, call me up. We can help you while the program obviously exists and the resources are there. So reach out. There's a lot of organizations right now that have received funding to not only help those already in business, especially with the PPP loans and the EIDL loans, but also thinking about, how do I pivot my business? How do I respond to this new economic environment that we're in? There's businesses who are closing, but there's also new businesses that are emerging. And so this is the time to really connect with your churches, connect with the pastors. It's so important that we as minority entrepreneurs understand that we have the blessing of God and we have his total, I think, backing. And so if we put everything and if it's lined up correctly, he will put people in the right place at the right time to guide you, to provide you that guidance, that advice that you're seeking, to point you at the right way, because I think we cannot do it alone. We all have to be together, work together, support each other. And I'm really, you know, very excited. I think great things are happening and will continue to happen, but so long as we're connected, we're willing to share, we're willing to inform, we're willing to teach others. And I will leave you with this. So great, you know, you may already have a business or you may have a new business. You have your registration, you have your license, but what's next? One thing is to be really good at what you do technically, but you really need to understand how to be a successful administrator, a business entrepreneur. And that means getting educated, blueprint reading, bidding and estimating, contracts, OSHA, business development, marketing, all that. That is all part of you being a successful entrepreneur. So keep in touch with CAF, keep in touch with us. I will be sharing in the next couple, hopefully months, you know, a new and exciting accelerator program for entrepreneurs in construction, women in construction. So just wanted to, you know, share that with you. And I thank CAF again. And I'm here. If you have any questions, my information is there. And look forward to collaborating with you all in the future.
Thank you, Sally from B&G Consulting. And I know that the information that was provided, it's going to be of such benefit to all of you who join us. Please share this information, share with your friends, and you have Sally contact number, feel free to give her a call. So we want to once again thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks to our speaker as well for your support and for joining us. And just a quick reminder, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have our first time home buyer class scheduled for July 24th and 25th. So if you're still interested and you're thinking about buying a home and you need the class and you need the information as to the steps to follow to be mortgage ready, please give us a call at 978-332-7108 or visit our website at www.mycaf.org. And please let yourself be counted for Census 2020. It's easy. You can do it online. Just go to 2020census.gov. So thank you once again for joining us, and we will see you guys next Thursdays. Thank you.